a bottle of wine open at home.
He
So
is. He ain't fucking around.
I'm a little, my day off. I start my weekend now, so
Oh, there you go. Did you try out that beer that Spanish beer I got?
it's really good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Spanish
I
beer.
want to crack it open tonight, but I started on wine. I don't like mixing.
Yeah.
At my age, we don't mix. the smart ones don't mix.
No, I'm there too. But I never drank wine. I was never a big wine drinker because
I started getting back into it. I mean, I'm paying for the freaking thing. I mean, might as well drink it.
what wine?
Yeah, we have like 5 boxes left of the wine we make.
Holy shit!
It's like, oh, it's good. I'm like, yeah, you guys can enjoy it. And then I'm like, oh, screw this, man. I'm paying for that wine.
Wait, who makes wine? You guys, like your house, or?
No. We go to a micro vin and we order it from. We just bottle it ourselves.
Okay.
But it's good. It's like homemade wine. They make it for you, basically. Like I don't have to do anything. You just have to bottle it yourself to make it legal, or else and you have to put it in bottles that have no labels.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out to anywhere depending on what you get. But it's the real juice. It's the real. They're from France, but if they have Bordeaux, if they have whatever, they have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And it comes in a pail with the number, so you can trace it back to where it came from and all that stuff. So it's legit.
Jesus, it sounds like the fucking bulk barn of wines.
It is.
That's insane.
There's I don't know if there's any in Brossard. I know there's
what's it called?
There's one at Yard, one at Microvin.
Okay.
And they have they're like a wine and beer like shop,
mm-hmm.
and you can buy like stuff for home too. And then in the back they have this big operation. They're basically legal bootleggers because they do it and they just have racks and racks of wine, and you do it and they'll go and they'll stir it for you and they'll put additives if you want, like wood chips and this and that, obviously for an extra cost. So like your bottle, but again, this wine comes out to like $5 a bottle, $5 to $8 a bottle. You bring your own bottle that day. They have a machine that washes them for you. They ask that they come with no labels, and that's it. Then you cork it, and they give you the color and everything. You cork it and bottle it, cork it, and seal it, and then you leave, and you pay them, and you leave. You have a slotted time, so you come in your time. It's beautifully organized.
That's insane. Yeah, wow. I had
the wine is good.
The wine is good, but what? You're sick of it? You want something else?
No, the wine is good. The wine is good. I'm just saying I'm drinking it because it's been like 2 years of making wine, and I don't touch the stuff. So,
oh man, I don't do beer. I don't do wine. I don't do beer because I don't know. It doesn't hit me hard enough, fast enough. And and wine, it just straight up one glass is all it takes to give me a headache. I don't know why I'm weak like that, but that's all it takes.
There's no preservatives in my wine. This is why I like this wine, because I can drink a whole bottle and be okay. When I drink
anything bottled here,
stuff, you taste it. It's different. And you just like then the headache comes in. Tannins. Maybe it's the tannins.
So I just go for good old fashioned whiskeys, vodkas, rum.
Let's get this party started.
We ain't talking about any mixes either. Look at this guy. Wearing a Venom hat to The Last of Us review.
It's not even Venom. It's Spider-Man.
It's Venom.
It's Spider-Man.
It's discount Venom.
It's ultimate.
It's Venom from Spider-Man 3.
Discount Venom.
It's 10 times better Venom. It's the OG before Venom.
Oh shit.
Oh man. Yeah, I see the setup that you have now, Josh. The microphone thing you were talking about. Like, your voice, it comes out nice and crisp with that. Oh, wow, Joe, straight from the bottle. Gotcha.
Oh, no, I'm going all out.
He's done.
That's how bad this episode was. that's going to be my thumbnail. Just Joe drinking.
I literally got up and did laundry.
In the middle of the episode, you came back and nothing else happened.
My wife was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Laundry." Why? Don't you want to watch? I'm like, "I am watching."
I'm good.
Oh my god.
Oh man. All right, so episode 7. Let's get the show on the road because I thought it was. I knew this one was going to be fun to talk about with you guys. I can't wait to hear the comments that y'all have about this one and what your purviews are on about it. Okay, let's not beat a dead horse. Okay, we already know the show has no action. Let's not stick on that. All right.
I wonder. It's not an action show.
I wonder if this one has action. Yeah, no. The answer is no.
Oh yeah, it's Rambo.
It wasn't gay. Actually,
It's almost as much as the last episode.
Somehow,
And the last episode was so action packed.
Somehow they managed to squeeze in less.
The action.
So, what I wanted to know from you guys. So before, if I can give you guys each a little bit of time first, I wanted to know if I were to give you like 60 seconds to like 2 minutes max. Just want to know real quick breakdown what you thought of the episode, your main good point and your main bad point. All right, let's start with Josh. I want to hear what you got.
What? Oh fuck.
That's right. Are you ready, boy?
Are you ready? Honestly, I don't really have that much of an opinion about this one because, like, I know it was supposed to be based off the DLC, and it pretty much ran like the DLC. And I'm also pretty sure that I said I'll be a little on the if side if it reminded me of episode 3, but worse, which it did. So, yeah.
All right. Anything good about the episode or not really?
To be fair, okay, like if I didn't play the DLC, I probably wouldn't have been like miffed about it because for an episode it ran okay. I'm the actress who played Ellie's friend. I already forgot her name.
Riley.
I don't know. Something about her pissed me off a bit. She's just so fucking exaggerated for no reason. Like, I don't know if it was the actress trying too hard or something. That's my nitpick about it. So, yeah.
All right.
So that I don't know. My I don't really have much of an opinion. It's like a 2.5 out of 5 for me. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Straight
no,
in with the dog shit rating.
We already did it with episode 3, and it's basically Ellie and her girl, and it's basically the DLC, which was also boring as fuck to me. So. It wasn't Rambo. There was no Rambo, so.
Gotcha. All right.
There was no zombies. Well, the one, but.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
Yeah, no, apparently.
If we can get a quick shot, let's hear from Joe.
Well, the only thing I liked was they did a good job of explaining, showing Ellie and how her naivety and how naive she is with stuff like to the new world. So that I think they did really well because she was asking questions and her pun book and whatever her friend and that we were kind of shoved like that friend that she was expecting. Where were you? You've been gone for 3 weeks, and I joined the Fireflies. It's like okay, so teenagers join Fireflies. Okay, fine. So you're just like you're getting an idea of like what the Fireflies actually are, how they're recruiting people. And she's like, I tried to get you in, but they said no. It's like they said no, but they found her and they accepted her. Okay, so I was really focused on that. That was what was going through my head a lot of the time. It's like, okay, these Fireflies, like, tell me more about how you met them and what your mission is. And oh, you're stationed here and you got pipe bombs, and you're like, okay, well, this is a real thing, and you're actually leaving. So I'm like, that's what the only reason I kept on watching that show, because I was literally just bored out of my mind, and it wasn't as compelling as the Bill story. Maybe because I'm not a teenager anymore and I don't care about your angst, but it was cool. The video games, the Mortal Kombat 2, because you saw her Mortal Kombat 2 poster on the wall, and oh, cool, Mortal Kombat 2, and let's play. How do you know these moves? It's impossible. How do you know these moves? How long have you been here? And then, oh yeah, you've actually been here for a while, but like she's like, you've been gone for 3 weeks. So was she gone for 3 weeks? But really, she was sneaking out longer because you don't learn. There was no cheats on finisher. There's no you know all those moves. It's impossible.
That's a nitpick.
Game Facts magazine.
That's a nitpick if I ever heard a nitpick.
There was no real internet at the time to be like, what the hell are the moves? Oh, that's how you do the fatalities. Oh, okay.
Really, with Game Facts. Remember the magazine Game Facts?
Oh my god.
Or not Game Facts, Game Pro?
Game Pro, yeah.
Were you saying Joe? Sorry.
So that was what my focus was on that episode, because I was just so bored. And I'm like trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm trying to come up with scenarios. How often was she playing that game? Was she just stationed there and she just played it for 24/7 that she figured out the moves?
Yeah.
That was what was boggling my mind. That's what I loved about the episode. I'm like, oh, okay, it's an enigma.
How do you have time to play that much of it and like make all these pipe bombs?
I hate to admit it, but when I saw that
all
scene,
this other shit.
when I saw that scene, the first thing that came to my mind is, how do you know how to do a fatality? That's not possible. But
Exactly.
that question did pop in my mind. But
Yeah, how'd you find the moves? Well, because like if it was the old Street Fighter arcade that actually had the moves on the arcade cabinet,
yeah, I remember that.
but I don't think Mortal Kombat did.
No, you had to learn it.
I
And
don't think so.
It was
guy would,
if I remember correctly from Mortal Kombat, it was like a thing. You go to the arcade and you'd be like, "Yo, what? Johnny knows the fucking fatality. You'll get Johnny here," and it was like a community thing at that point. It was a secret, and some of them were like myths and that kind of stuff. But then the internet came along and ruined that.
it's funny. Just yelling out moves to my wife and stepdaughter. I'm like, oh yeah, back, forward A, and it's like forward, A B, and that's how she gets the guitar thing going on and whatever. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, never mind. It's hitting hard,
It's funny, especially when Riley's explanation on how to tell it to play the game. It doesn't matter. Just smash everything. It's like, yeah, that's not how. No.
As a fighting game enthusiast, I disagree with all of this.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I enjoyed out of the episode. Their bonding for me was boring, unfortunately. And the only other thing that I enjoyed was seeing that that infected wake up. And I think that their quality is just amazing. Like the production value is really good. It hits the mark every time. The color, the atmosphere, how it makes you feel. You're always worried about what's going to happen, what's going to run around every corner. You know that there's a zombie going to show up, an infected, not a zombie. And I think that all that was really, really great. And then how they figured out how they got caught up to the end. I mean, how she got bit, not got caught, but like how they got caught in that little action of the. But again, I mean, I have to disagree with Josh though, because I wouldn't give them a 2.5. I'd give them a 2.
Ooh, even lower.
Honestly, it was the Mortal Kombat 2 that kind of helped it out. I marked out completely. I marked out completely. Like, oh, it's rated? No way! Like
1 point for Mortal Kombat and 1 point for pipe bombs that you didn't even use.
There you go. There's only one zombie. I'm gonna keep calling it a zombie. There's only one zombie, so 0.5.
All right, so Danny, let's hear from you, sir.
I kind of have to. Well, I pretty much agree with both of them. There really wasn't much that was going on this entire episode. It felt basically like, let's just redo the same thing from the third episode. Let's just do a Bill and Frank episode, but swap genders and try to make it interesting. And there was some cute moments. Like, it's like, okay, they're trying to show you how like they both kind of had a little bit of relationship going, or they were trying to, and like Ellie was a little bit hurt considering her friend was there. Then she's going off with the Firefly. She's going out like killing a bunch of random people and doing it for this whole. I don't know. She just wasn't happy about it. So I was like, okay, it's cute. It's all right, but I don't know. There wasn't really anything special. And again, like my usual gripe, it's the action comes in. You're like, yes, there's something gonna happen, and like by the time you have time to celebrate on it, it's over. You're like, what was that? What was that? Yeah. Like you literally got me out of bed to like do something. And like you're already out cold. What the hell happened?
The only thing I'll say about the action thing is that yes, obviously this episode was clearly lacking in it a lot. But the one thing I will say is that the moment that the action did show up, when the infected did show up and it was attacking Riley and Ellie, it was a well acted intense scene. It threw him around, it thrashed him around. Riley can't shoot a gun for shit apparently, and that's something that's right in front of her. But again, the action was intense. So to me, it was better than pointless action scenes that we've seen. It was a better action scene, but still way too tame of an episode. I agree. But I would rather get more of that in the episode than just a bunch of useless filler action. How's it going, B3? You just stopping by to say hi? You're not watching The Last of Us? You don't care, or you don't like us? Whichever one it is, let me know in the chat.
Wow.
that's how you hook, line, and sinker him.
I don't know. That was like a cold hook, line, and sinker.
No, B3.
You can watch if you want, I guess, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I'll humor you every now and then.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, B3 is dealing with a broken heart. We spoke to B3, remember her?
Yes.
Yeah, so come on. She has a broken heart. She's going to watch a chick flick. Any chick flick recommendations for B3 right now? Let's go.
Nope.
Oh my God, Serendipity. Go for it.
Oh, Serendipity.
There you go.
Danny knows a bunch.
Way too fast.
You know what? That's actually not too bad. 50 First Dates. That one's kind of cute.
50. Oh God, it's so depressing though. It's
a little bit, but it's good. It's good. It has a happy ending, and it's funny.
Man.
Just watch some Dawn of the Dead. We're talking about Last of Us. Watch Dawn of the Dead. It's great. You heard me. Watch that.
Watch
Fantastic.
Laugh a little.
Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, no kidding.
No. You want to feel the negative emotions. Watch some Dawn of the Dead. It's hopeless. Everyone goes, and Disturbed shows up at the end.
Exactly.
There's yeah,
but not before the classy Down with the Sickness. Come on.
Oh man.
Oh, the classy bitch song is you should watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part.
It's not that creepy. You'll still be able to sleep, B3. Don't worry about it. That's like
there you go.
Fuck him. Enjoy your horror movie or your chick flick.
Hey,
try some Vin Rains or whatever his name is.
Vin Rains.
Vin Rains, yeah. Okay. Ready, yeah.
Well,
with his deadpan delivery.
If you stick around,
motherfucker's gonna come in this mall.
If you stick around, I hope we can make you laugh at least. All right. If you want to have a good time. Oh,
how you doing, Peters? What's that?
Sorry for your heartbreak.
Here's a sip for you.
I poured one down, but I've got all my studio coming here. So
Joe's gonna, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. No. Back to the review of the episode. I was only gonna say I only disagree with the action part. It's not a lot, but I find this was the one time where they did action well, kind of like the clicker scene in episode 2, where the action had a consequence and it meant something to it. So I appreciate it. Again, I just wish there was more of it. So
for me, it's like I get where you're coming from. I just feel there's been such a there's been such a lack of it that it's like, when is it gonna happen? Like, when is something a little bit actiony, a little bit intense gonna happen?
We knew this episode.
And just
you guys called it 100%, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh, man, okay.
Oh yeah,
that was it. You just accept it.
I was really hoping that they were gonna take a route and do like a modern day flashback, like a jump in between. But they didn't do that at all. They just flashback and stayed in the flashback, and that was it. That was all we got. And
that's what I mean. Like, they could have again put in a little bit of action with the present time. Like, she had to go and try and find some medication or something, because he's got this giant gaping wound. I highly doubt Stitch is gonna deal with that. I really doubt Stitch is gonna. Yeah, especially dirty Stitches, who you have no clue how long they've been there for.
Yeah.
Ooh, mold. This should be fun.
So
salmonella, that's okay.
Overall, to me, it was very quickly here on my end. I thought it was again, like you guys, probably the weakest episode of the entire series so far for me. I
wouldn't say that. I still think the fifth. What was it? The fifth one, the one with the one with the two brothers.
The previous episode,
the two kids. 6? Yeah, the two kids.
Henry and Sam.
Not even close.
Yeah. I don't know.
You think that was the weakest episode?
At least the fourth one. There was some interesting stuff, but at least I don't know.
Oh, when they got to the city.
Yeah.
Okay. The introduction of 2.5 Man Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch any of what Joe said there. It was cutting out.
Sorry, I was saying the fact that Sam and Henry, Sam was deaf. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was a good twist to that actual episode. It was like, oh, there's something new, and it's like, okay, make it even more like heartwarming and more connected with the brother, that he has even that much more to deal with, that his younger brother's deaf. Almost a blessing, depending on the situation, but considering he doesn't hear the gunshots and the screaming and the yelling, you can go on. That's such a tangent we can go on with that, but I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I disagree with that sentiment a little bit, actually, because the brother still saw some shit, and I think it would be a little more horrifying to turn around and see it than actually hear it first. And as far as like the death being a welcoming thing, it's like it wasn't really addressed, or was and wasn't, like it wasn't really a consequence. There was no real point of having it. Like, cool, they could speak sign to each other. It didn't really add
I mean, like, I don't know about
extra
that.
flavor to it. Like I don't know, I don't find it really added that much extra to it.
No, to me it didn't add anything extra. To me, it was more of they did something different, and it didn't feel forced, and it didn't take away from the story. It was just a different angle
absolutely.
on it.
I'm not like debating that part. Is just like, I don't know, like it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like groundbreaking or special. It was just, it was there and that was it.
No,
it was a nice difference. It was like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. It was, to me, it was a nice difference, and it just showed what the older brother had to overcome and what he had to deal with to try and get this kid to survive in this kind of world, right? He never has to hear 2.5 lady chick. So, so yeah. Okay. Well, for me personally, this was the weakest episode.
I agree.
If anybody were to watch a show, I would tell them, "Yo, you can skip this one."
Watch this one, then 3.
Because if you tell them to skip the Sam episode, they're missing a huge point of the story.
Yeah.
They're missing a turning point. So that's why I would say, like, this one you could skip this and you didn't miss anything. But what I will say that this episode did very well, it's actually going to echo a little bit of what Joe mentioned. It was that it showed the innocence of Ellie a little bit more, like to see her go into the mall, play on the escalators, wanting to visit everything. To see her, it's things that you don't think about anymore. But yeah, they're in the apocalypse. They're probably like, what the fuck is lingerie? Why would people wear string instead of clothes? I don't get it. So it was nice to see that aspect of them, like to see them as kids, and not necessarily trying to survive all the time. Yeah. It was nice to see them as kids. And one thing I will say is that as slow as the episode was, it was too slow. It made it too boring, very hard to follow. They kind of nailed the end, because when Joel was injured, he told her, just leave me to die and get out of here. And she walks out the door and she starts having those thoughts. And then that's when the flashback begins. And what happens? She has that little speech from Riley at the end saying, I don't like option 1. We're not going to take our lives. We're gonna, if we have a day, if we have 2 hours, 2 seconds, we're going to keep it and we're going to share it, right? And that's pretty much what forced her to shut the door and go sew up Joel with salmonella.
It's probably not salmonella, considering you get that from chickens, but let's just go with Ebola. We'll go with Ebola.
So
he goes out, finds a chicken, kills it. It's just like, hang on, let me disinfect.
Where'd you find that chicken?
Don't worry about it.
So
there's a chicken outdoors.
Just remind me of like, you guys are. I mean, I don't know if you're too young for this, but for MASH, they'd call it meatball surgery. MASH being the military unit in World War One, the Vietnam War, Korean War, excuse me, and they were just like getting bombed all the time, and they didn't have like the technology that they had today, and they would just stitch up people in dust and whatever, and use what they could. So, in a post-apocalyptic world, you use what you can. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to stop the bleeding. She had to sew it up, or else he'd bleed out, and that's the only way.
It was all.
Yeah, we're just poking fun because we're in the modern world. We're just modern day.
No,
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
for me, it was more like it's fine that she sews it up, and I guess you got to use what you got to use, but like. At least in the game, it was just like, hey, let's go out and find some actual medication to deal with the infection, because she stitched them up, but he still has some kind of infection going on,
and she got antibiotics for him and all those types of things. So in the game, but anyways, so like, but I feel like in that specific scene, that entire slow burn of a build up, all of that was just to have us understand her actions of saying, no, I'm not going to leave him. I'm going to go back and help him. I thought, to me, it was like, okay, nice. Message received. I got it.
Yeah.
And
I thought it took too long to get to that point, though.
Yeah, I thought I did it well. And the other thing I thought the episode did very well was the set piece. I bought it. The mall looked legit. Like, they probably shut down the Mall of America for a night and redressed the whole thing. They didn't spare any expense here. They spent their money on this episode.
Yes, the extra nice. And
they did it very well. So. Apart from that, too slow of a burn, and just I had a very hard time keeping up. And to me, honestly, it was one of the episodes that had the worst writing, the worst lines, and the worst banter between two characters.
I agree.
I didn't
You
appreciate.
you didn't really
I
feel
didn't.
for Riley.
I didn't care about what they had to say. I didn't really feel for Riley, and
We don't know any of her story. We know nothing about her. Just that Ellie has a crush on her, and that's it.
yeah, I think it was Joe said it. Like you said, like I got up and I went and I did laundry. Why? Because it didn't fucking matter what they were saying. It didn't matter. Like the story was going nowhere with them the whole time.
You made my wife happy. Boring episode.
So that's my take on the episode. The weakest one yet. If I had to give it out of a 5, it would definitely be a 2, maybe even lower. So, didn't like it. And I overheard someone, I think it was my wife, who said that how she thought this episode really showcased Bella Ramsey is a good actress.
Yes.
And I disagree with her.
Oh.
Okay.
I disagree with her.
Damn.
Because I always said that Bella Ramsey, to me, I've told you guys, I felt like she's just belting out her lines, right? And like she's not really putting much emotion behind it. And the only time where I felt emotion for her was when Sam shot himself, and I saw her actually act for a second, where she didn't have to say anything; she had to like portray the emotion on her face. And I told her, this is gonna sound real bad right now, but I told her like how I didn't like Riley. I thought the Riley lines were crap, and I didn't like the way she delivered them. I didn't buy that Riley, like she was very 2-dimensional, her character. But it's because we don't know her backstory that well, right? But I didn't like it. So, who was the only other person in the episode? Ellie.
Yeah.
That's all she has to play off of. The bar is not set very high to make her look good. It's like the average looking girl who brings her fat chick to the club. Yeah, that's what happened. So to me, that's what it was. So I don't think Bella Ramsey was exceptional in this episode. I just think this episode made her look good.
This is my fat friend.
So
Oh my God.
we're gonna get hit with a misogyny tag now. So all right. So what I want to ask you guys some more questions, like beyond the episode, like more about the direction of the show and what this episode kind of represented. So one thing that I noticed for sure, and everyone noticed it, we mentioned it, is that the one time that we steer away from Joel and Ellie's story and focus on other people's story just so happens to be 2 instances. And it's episode 3 and this episode. And it just so happens to be an episode where we're trying to tell a story.
I was wondering if someone was going to bring that up.
And we're just wondering, it's a story about gay characters or LGBTQ representation or what that kind of stuff. So I wanted to know from you guys, do you think that this was the way that the story was meant to be told? Or do you think that this was like a popular narrative that Hollywood or production believes that you need to include in your shows in order for it to be successful? What is your take on that happening in this show? And for that, I want to start with Danny. I want to know what you have to say.
Repeat the question again.
Oh, son of a bitch. So basically, like I was saying, the show, what I want to know is this the show pushing a narrative, trying to push a message and putting a message in front of telling a good story? By having the 2 episodes that doesn't focus on our main characters happen to be LGBTQ episodes or whatever you want to call it, or is it a natural flow or natural development, or do you think that they just completely miss the hammer on the nail here? What is your take on
that? I'd have to say it's. I don't know. I find nowadays there's so much of it that it's kind of hard to be at a neutral or like unbiased view of it. To be like, oh, this could have been like they could have introduced a lesbian character and gone about that, and it would have been fine. But like, there's so much of it nowadays that I feel like you can look at just about every scene now and be like, oh God, there they go again. They put another LGBTQ. They put something that's woke and all that. But I didn't really feel that so much in most of the stuff that they've been doing. Like again, the 3rd episode, there was a lot of it. There was a lot of like, I guess you could say, gay scenes or whatnot. But I didn't feel like they were trying to jam everything down your throat. They were just trying to develop the relationship between Bill and Frank, which was already there in the game. And they went about it differently. I didn't like that they focused too much on some things. I think they could have still brought that story about and done everything else on the side and made it nice. This one was kind of again the same thing. I feel like they could have still done the whole story with Joel with Ellie and Riley, kept it interesting. At least she has a little bit of a love interest, or at least see exactly what happened in the past. It was nice to have seen that, but they still could have done more outside of that realm. So I do think it's a bit there. It's not as like up in your face about it. Um, but like I said, I find nowadays there's too many TV series, there's too many shows now that they push it too hard, and it's I can't really put the
So
I
you're
can't
more
really say
leaning on the camp or the side that how this was a narrative being pushed. That's why this episode exists.
what repeat that. Sorry.
You're more on the side of saying like how a narrative is being pushed here. Like we want to make sure and include this to say we have this in our show. We have these views and these beliefs. Like that's what's being done here, or you think that that's not what the case is? Because, like you said, they're trying to thread a fine line in between of being woke or having representation or just telling a good story. You know?
I think they were just trying to tell a good story,
Okay.
and I'd rather keep it like that than try and have the more of the unbiased side of things,
Okay.
and not just to try and throw it in right off the gate as being too trans or too LGBTQ or too woke or whatever it was. It didn't feel like they were trying to be that way. They were trying to have something. I felt like it was trying to do something more natural. They could have done a little bit better with the episode. I do agree. A lot of it was boring. The pacing was kind of boring. There really wasn't much that was going on. But again, I didn't feel like they were trying to throw, yeah, basically
To
just to
throw
throw a lot.
propaganda or messaging in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Um,
a lot of Ellie's concerns were like you were kind like they kind of felt a little bit genuine. Even the same thing with Riley, what they were trying to both accomplish. There was some like wokeness, I guess you can say, in there, but again, it wasn't like the main thing that they were trying to point out there. Like she was trying to get into the Fireflies. She had a reason. They didn't shove it down in there. And then Ellie, the same thing. She had her reasons why she was trying to be more, stay more in the QZ, be more of a, what's it?
A good
but,
Be
citizen.
more of a change inside of the system as opposed to trying to go about it the way Riley is. So
well,
they both have
she
their
was in
both ways of
Fedra school, so
basically, yeah. So she's trying to deal with it a different way, like work things out from the inside and trying to make change from there. Whereas Riley's more about rebelling and doing something else entirely. So they both had their own thing. They didn't push again. They didn't push that too hard. They pushed more of them trying to have something going and how what's it? How Ellie actually became immune, or how you see when she realizes that she is immune.
yeah.
Yeah.
What if
And,
same question to you, Joe?
well, we got to look at it in two different things because I had the same thought and same realization. So I'm really glad you came up with that question because I wasn't sure if you guys were going to bring that up or not. Um, we have two different scenes of two different characters who are already established. Remember, they didn't change anything. We knew Bill was gay. We know that Ellie is flirting, being bi or lesbian. You know, whatever. No big deal. Who cares? But they chose to make the two, like you said, the two episodes that were low in action and storytelling versus their version of action to be the stories of those two gay characters. Did that just play in their favor for today's wokeness? Maybe, and it worked well. I enjoyed Bill's story because you get to know about that character because he was engaging and entertaining in the video game. Remember, we're comparing this to the video game. So in the video game, it was like, who is this crazy guy and what's his deal? Cool, we get to see it, and I found his story was very adult. He meets this guy, he traps him, bada bing, bada boom. They start talking. Clearly, he's uncomfortable. He's coming out of the closet for the first time. This guy's kind of like figuring it out. He's the sensitive side. Bill is the rough side, and it's an adult lifestyle adaptation. Well, not adaptation, but like a process through two people meeting and living the rest of their lives together. They happen to be gay. It was great. Applause. It was a great show. Ellie, I felt a little more uncomfortable because I'm not a teenager anymore. I don't know what teenagers think about anymore, but maybe this is what they're going through. And she's clearly, you can feel the tension between her and whatever, and the hand touching, and at one point, like just the looking, the glances, and I'm just like, I don't need to see this. Like this is like it's almost too personal, and you're like, you're showing her, but you got to show her character and show how she is. But it's like, okay, but in a post-apocalyptic world, she's not gonna like. It's not about. It's about survival. It's not about. Is it about her finding love later on with Joel or someone else that she meets? We don't know. But they did a good job of that, at least at that episode. So I'm glad you brought that up because with Bill, with Ellie, whatever love interest they had, it happens to be on the gay side. Who cares? It was both good. It was both well. But like again, Ellie was more the young. How do I do this? She's leaving. Am I gonna ever see her again? So it's forcing all these emotions out. She dealt with it well, I guess. But we're just going through what the writers are trying to portray Ellie as. But again, that story is already written. We know that because of the video game. So it's nothing that wasn't unexpected. Are they trying to push it in our face? I don't think so. I think it just happened to be that that's what the story was from the beginning. So there's really no like, oh no one could be even mad about it because it's just that's what the story was. We know this. We played the game. We know, and they just chose that the two boring episodes happened to be that, so they can explain it more, or go into detail and make you feel compassionate about it. What kind of audience are you trying to grab? Are 14-year-olds playing this video game? Probably not.
Well,
I don't know.
Let me.
At that, we got to look at statistics. We got to see, like, did anybody bring that up? Who was buying this game? Who's continuing the game? What are the age groups? And in that age group, who's gay and who's not gay playing The Last of Us?
Mm-hmm. Let me throw an unfair question to you here about that, and it's what if I were to say that Bill's character and Ellie's character in the game, let's just change the story for a second. They're not gay. They're straight. Okay. Let's just say that's how we know them. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Would these episodes still exist?
I think so.
You think they would
If
have?
they were straight,
I think so.
they were straight. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, the Bill episode was a complete, like, oh, cool, they're explaining Bill. Again, we were just disappointed with, like, there could have been more action. They could have been gay with action. They could have been, their home could have been tested every third day. They could have shown one day we get attacked by raiders and we're dealing with it. Another time, we're just two loving people trying to, I want to repaint the town. Of course you want to repaint the town. Of course you want to repaint the town. You got nothing else to do with your life. Of course you want to repaint the town. Yeah, my wife. Someone in that couple, and that's what I enjoyed about it because, he's the arms are Burnley man. And Frank was the, no, we got to paint it. We got to look here. I live here. I want to love where I live. And it's like, why not? You might die any day. You might as well. Everything you have is provided for you. Now, without getting too much into that, so that story again, I really enjoyed it. Again, the slow story with Ellie. It's a younger. I didn't connect. I'm not a teenager anymore. I don't care. Like it's like okay, yeah, you're feeling your emotions. I've been there. When are you gonna get eaten? That's what I was.
Yeah.
What's Josh like?
I don't know.
Bradley's losing his shit.
I don't know.
Deal.
It's not like the episode with gay with action. Just like just immediately started
Jazz hands.
Unicorns.
Oh, the decker!
All right.
Still those flying all over the place.
The crown to ass missile.
You knew that they were gay. Bill just seemed more of a rough guy in the video game itself. So it's like you see he's hard up. He's like I don't trust anybody. Okay, good. You don't trust anybody. Good for you. Like it makes sense. God knows. Like it was a backstory on him, but we still don't know his backstory. We don't know what kind of family he grew up in. We don't know if he was like if he had to hide it this whole time. Did he have so there's so much. But I mean, how much depth do you really want to go into a character of a video game? I guess HBO had to do what they did. The producers have to do what they did with what they had and had to make a decision. Okay, how far back do we go?
Mm-hmm.
Let's make this. Bill's a cool character. Let's show people what his story is. This is how we're going to portray it. Loving home family. Remember, it's post-apocalyptic, so they actually had a chance to live a good life before shit hit the fan. Ellie had her chance to live a good life before shit hit the fan. And that's what she would do as a teenager. That's what you would do. That's what you would do as a couple with Bill. You find someone, you make a home, you make a family, and you move on. You make a garden, blah, 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 blah. This is what I did. And you just live your life the way you can, the best you can in post-apocalyptic. Same thing with Ellie. and her girlfriend or her friend is showing her, look, I have all these things for you. I have all these surprises. Surprise 1, surprise 2, surprise 3. She planned it, and it shows emotion from her. And it shows mature emotion from her. That's something we're expecting from adults, not from teenagers who are like, I'm going into war because I prefer the Fireflies, because clearly she doesn't like Fedra. So there's a lot of, I don't think we're giving these episodes as much credit as we should. They're well done, but again, we're coming at it from
the game side of things.
Action, it's a video game.
You see, I don't know about that, because like I said, we all agree that episode 3 was well done. And if you wanted to have an LGBT representation, like, that's how you do it. That's how you tell that story.
Representation. Stop calling it LGBT. There's gay, lesbian. That's it. There is no LGBT in this show.
No, actually, no. That's true. There is none of that crap. It's just gays and lesbians, and that's it.
LGBT has nothing to do with nothing. There's no transsexuals. There's no other people. I'm not shitting on anything.
Wait for season 2. But anyways,
I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
But wait, no. No. I agree with that. I think we are giving the show enough credit. I think this episode is going to get a lot of heat because, like I said, if you skip this episode, you're not missing anything. You miss out on nothing if you.
Yeah, you just have to watch the beginning and the end, and that long explanation why Ellie won't leave Joel.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know if you want to give it a crack, Josh. Same question towards you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Please.
I guess I could try. Do I think there's an agenda? I would like to think that there may have been one, just because of like how shows have been going and how games have been going and all that crap, where they have to literally push it constantly. Mm-hmm. Do I find that it's represented or whatever in this show? Maybe not. Or actually, no, indefinitely not. It's just more interesting that the 2 episodes that really focused on people's backstories and relationship and blah happened to have been a gay couple and another gay couple. But outside of that, I don't really think there was really pushing anything like race, gender, creed, nothing. Like, I don't even think there's really room to push that in this kind of world, if that makes sense.
No, I don't think so. It wouldn't make sense for, like we said this before, like, if a character were to come out and say, it's a post-apocalyptic, we're going to stone you because you're gay. Like, no, they don't. They have other concerns in this world.
There's a massive shortage of people. I don't think who is sucking what at night or whatever is going to be a huge concern on people's minds with clickers and boomers, whatever, bloaters and etc. and all that crap. Like, there's more things to worry about than somebody's fucking sexual orientation, and I'm glad it shows in this show that they don't have to push that crap constantly, because again, like, in nowadays world, they do push it because there's so many people who are so fucking bored with their lives that they have to go on the internet and fucking cry about everything and so on and so forth. Whereas, yeah, again, in the world, it's just not that way. So I don't find that there's really room to push it to begin with. Okay. So there's representation, but at the same time, it's tasteful because it just so happens that they're gay. Mm-hmm. It just so happens that whatever. Now, as far as episodes themselves go, it's just, I don't know, 3 I find could have been a hell of a lot shorter because the DLC wasn't really that long. So why should this episode really be that long? They could have had the aftermath of what's happening between Joel and Ellie and the fact that he got stabbed and so on and so forth. They could have pushed a little more intrigue to the next episode instead of having the entire fucking episode on this will they, won't they, even though you already know they're going to because you've played the DLC, or at least you could clearly see that something's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was just kind of a massive waste of time to have 2 episodes based off that crap. But
I think they should have just made this into 2 seasons. At this rate, to be honest, because I feel like they're going through way too many things way too fast.
Yeah, like I believe I've said this before. This show suffers from a pacing issue more than anything else. And I find that there could have been a lot more hashed out details and a lot more interesting scenes, and a lot more, like, if you wanted to bring in characters who weren't even in the game or whatever, just to add extra spice to the thing, you could have done that. It's just everything seems so rushed, and the only time that it just so happens that it wasn't as rushed is with episode 3 and this episode, where they had to show a relationship and everything. They took their time. They had to make sure you were invested, even though maybe you weren't. And it's just, yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
Long-winded thing. So, like, do I think that it was added? Kind of, but it wasn't really pushed. Like, I didn't feel forced to watch it, but at the same time, I didn't feel a need to watch it either.
And you see, I think that I suffer from a different issue, which is that I follow like social media and development and production and all that kind of crap a little too much to the point where it might hinder my experience with a TV show or a movie that I'm seeing coming forward or what I want to see. And I know who wrote this episode. I know like the DLC wasn't produced by the main staff of the game. I know these details. Like for instance, throughout the entire game you're playing The Last of Us. Ellie is not. It's not hinted that she's a lesbian. It's not hinted anything. She's a 14-year-old girl. It's not talked about at all. It wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't talked about in the first game.
We
That
have to see. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
that was pretty much explored in the DLC only, and the DLC was released by the person who wrote this episode, right? And the person who's leading the charge on this TV show is the person who produced the DLC and who wrote this episode. So, and I know for a fact that he does have a bias towards, wanting that kind of representation. So, me going in with that knowledge already, the bullet's already in the chamber for me, right? I'm just waiting for a reason to pull the trigger, which is not right. It's not letting me have an unbiased
But
review.
yeah, you suffer from a bias going in, so you're like automatically assuming that shit's gonna be pushed where it could have just not been.
Well, because
Yeah.
like we all said, the two episodes that they chose to slow things down and really give you some good character development happens to be episodes when it's not about our main characters and it's telling a story about a gay couple. Like why didn't we get any, like, if you wanted to inject something new into the show that we didn't see, like the Bill and Frank episode, why didn't we get to see Joel develop a relationship with Tess? That way maybe her loss would have meant something to us, when that happened. And I'm not saying that they have to represent it. I'm just saying why it wasn't in that direction. And like you said, the show suffers from a great pacing issues. So why is it that we're only slowing down in the moments where we have to tell, or where we choose to tell these stories about gay characters? And to me, that's a narrative kind of ripping its claws on the show, saying we want to tell this and we want to tell it correctly in the right way. Because to be fair, the Bill and Frank episode was told perfectly fine. It was correct. That was properly done, But at the expense of rushing the experience that I showed up for. I showed up to see Joel and Ellie's story.
Yeah.
So
I do find, even though there has been some episodes like in and around that, it still feels, it doesn't feel like there has been more of their development. It's just like going through the paces, like, oh yeah, so we're at this point in the game, so here we'll pepper in some stuff between Joel and Ellie just to kind of keep you satisfied, and now we're off to the next thing to push everything else forward. There hasn't been too much with Joel and Ellie.
Because I was really disappointed to see that the whole episode was in this mall, and we only have 2 episodes left before the season's over.
Yeah.
And by looking at the previews for the next episode, it's already looking like they're gearing us up to speed to the end of this game.
Yeah.
They don't.
Which makes sense, because that means they have something bigger and better planned. Or
I don't know about that.
No.
I don't know about that one.
You don't think they're going to continue the series?
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
Like, do they have a big bad surprise that we just weren't aware of that they're rushing so bad?
Or it's just a cash grab.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about if you were to think about properties that are released where they use an existing vessel to send out their message or push a narrative or whatever, that's all they are. They're just cash grabs. They're just using it as a front to get this point across, right? And to be fair, it doesn't feel like that with The Last of Us. They're doing a better job at it, But to me, so
far it was better than any other video game. Like we mentioned in our last gathering, was I find it's better than, they did a better job than Uncharted. They did a better job than what do you call it? Warcraft.
That would have been nice.
Really, this is the video game, and they're just trying to put a microscope on it and go. And they changed a few things, and that's to be expected. So now, are we gonna, and we kind of got 2 episodes that were like meh.
Yeah. No, they were just meh.
No, but episodes were important because they happen in the game. So
Well,
just
3 didn't.
Well, this was going to be my third question to you guys, and I'll just bring it up right now, and it's that how I think this was a very poor decision on them to release this episode now. I think it was such a bad idea for them to do this because I didn't care about Riley. I didn't know about Riley, and it didn't matter to me what was going on with her. So if you think about the way that we experienced the game, and tell me if you guys agree with me or not on this, is that when we finished the game, we got the entire Joel and Ellie story from A to Z. Okay, and what were the last few lines that she told Joel to force him to tell the truth? She was explaining to Joel who is the Last of Us, right? And to her, it was Riley. She's like, Riley was my first. I lost her first, and she meant a lot to me, and so on and so forth. And we didn't really hear about that throughout the game. That was the first time she let it out. You know, it was her opening up to Joel at the end of the game, right? And it hit harder for us, for her to open up and say who she lost, which allowed Joel to open up about Sarah to her. And then the whole conversation developed from then on for the last cutscene. And we enjoyed the game, we loved the game, and as gamers, we wanted more. What did they do? They released DLC. They gave us a nugget. They gave us a little bit of information. They gave us a small little level you could play in to enjoy it because you wanted a little bit more Last of Us, right? And to be honest, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the DLC. I thought it was fun, and it fleshed out the characters a little more. The problem with the show, and I think that this was a mistake here, and this is where I want you guys to jump in if you agree with me or not, is I think it was bad. It was a bad idea to take something that was slapped on as extra content for us to enjoy because we wanted more after such a good experience, and to make it the focus in the middle point of this entire saga. I think that was a mistake because it was never meant to be that.
I agree, and that's why I went with my statement of I don't believe that it should have been an entire episode on it.
Maybe not an episode. I don't agree. It's already out there. They're creating something that already exists. People are going to want to. People enjoyed the Ellie story.
But it wasn't that long though. They just went into a mall. They dilly-dallied, and that was virtually it. It doesn't need to be a whole episode for it.
No, but they're trying to build up more. What they should have done with Joel and Tess, that's what they did with Ellie. To give her more, because in the second game, Last of Us 2, it's all about Ellie. So that's just giving more fuel for the fire for her eventually, because the story that's just where they went with it. I'm not like, that's just how it is. It's Ellie. So Joel is gone in the second. So it's, he's his story. That's good. Pedro, good for you. You're doing a good job. And that's it.
Thank you. Get out. Here's your ticket.
There you go. Are we going to see him in the second
Here's your hockey papers. Get out, by the way. Watch out for golf.
Exactly.
Okay.
I stick with the I don't believe it should have been the entire episode. Like, it was too much. Like episode 3, I didn't like. Episode 3, I would understand being the entire episode because it literally went through stages of their relationship. Even though it wasn't really in the game, it's still like it's cool extra filler, and it's episode 3. Who the fuck cares? It's still early. But like at this stage, I feel like it would have been a good flashback, or like have it in increments throughout the episode while having the actual point of whatever they're doing. Like, you have Joel, he's stabbed, there should be stuff happening. There is stuff that happens. And you want to have a flashback, that's cool. It doesn't have to be a running flashback throughout the entire hour. It could have just been in increments, or it could have been shorter, or something. But it shouldn't have been such
an hour. It could have been 40.
I want to let
they could have actually got. Yeah, I was going to say, like, they could have had Joel. They could have had Ellie, like, right out the gate make the decision to start to try and help Joel out, and then you kind of figure out towards the end of that episode, like if they did it in increments, why she came to that decision. Like, when obviously Riley passes away, and the reasons what Riley is saying to Ellie were her motivation to kind of basically save Joel, right? So if like you were saying, like if they had pasted out, if they had put in the like her starting out from the get go, finding the stitches, because I'm pretty sure even in the game she did something to him before to like stabilize him, but she knew that she had to do something more because he wasn't going to survive. So like they could have gone with that. Like most of the time when I'm saying there wasn't enough action, it's not. I'm not saying like I want mindless action, but I want some like purpose driven action. That could have been a purposeful one. Maybe she meets up with the raiders or the slavers she's supposed to meet up with the other episode, and that's where the whole like chase can kind of start. And like because what's his name? David is supposed to be. He knows that she kind of killed some of his men, and that's part of the reason why she captures him and whatnot, or why he captures her. Sorry, later on.
Yeah.
So like you could have given motivation towards David in the following episode while driving home everything that Ellie was trying to do to save Joel, and at the same time show what was going on in the past.
Again, yeah.
Like they could have set the points up nicely. They could have drove everything home, and it would have been a solid episode.
Yeah, I agree. Because right now it seems like they're gearing up to give David a rush one episode. Like he's gonna show up in episode 8, and he's gonna be gone at the end of episode 8.
But now I'm even curious. Like how are they gonna tie him into it now? And if Joel is already better, or maybe he's better, maybe she might actually have to do something. I don't know. But if Joel is better, then like
she has to go off somewhere. So if the next episode is her doing the whole David thing and running around and then escaping that, and then Joel waking up trying to figure out where she is, then we still have the whole like going to the hospital or the university, and then like getting her there. They take her, and how are you going to do that in 2 episodes? It's impossible. I don't think David's going to show up.
Well, he is.
No, he is. The preview for episode 8's already out. He's in it.
Yeah, and they already have him as one of the cast.
Oh, that's right. We saw.
So like,
but
my whole thing is like I was saying before in the last episode. They're at this episode now, which like obviously we can tell that this episode is going to be the David episode. Cool. Now we're at episode 9, and now they literally have to rush the very end of the whole game, which they took their time. There's the whole draft scene. There's a lot of stuff that happens right after you finish with David, and before the end of the game. And I feel like this last episode is going to be like a full-on rush through the whole thing.
If they don't rush it, yeah, no, exactly. Like exactly
9 episodes of just the ending.
That's season 2.
Every episode there's a giraffe.
The giraffe just like sticks its head in from the corner, like
it's an hour of Joel and
giraffe. It just keeps photobombing him the entire time.
Oh man!
Little head in the corner. Joel, the giraffe kind of peeks over.
But okay, but like the only thing I'll say is that. Actually, before I get to that, one thing I want to mention is that I noticed you guys are talking about lack of action a lot. I don't complain about it as much because, like I said, I want my action to mean something. That's all I want.
Oh, I agree.
I don't necessarily want more of it.
You're a bad judge of character. That's all it is. I mean,
what's that?
You're just a bad judge of character for action.
Yeah, you saw I married, but
wait till you get to my age. wait till you get to my age. It's like
I wish I had more action in my life.
No, yeah, fair enough. It's a fair point, Joe. But the thing is that like how if you think about the argument that you made earlier about every video game movie that came out, if you think about it, Warcraft, you think about Uncharted, you think about Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg, yeah, that came out. You think about Hitman, both versions,
Mortal Kombat.
Like what did
all 3 of them?
What do they all have in common?
They're bad,
and they're chock full of dumbass action.
Yeah, no,
character development.
I totally agree with the mindless action. I don't want that. Like it definitely like other than Mortal Kombat, the first one, that one was fun.
The techno, come on, the techno.
I know.
No, the last Mortal Kombat was good. Sorry, the last Mortal Kombat.
That was the best part of that whole show or that whole movie.
What were you saying, Joe?
The last Mortal Kombat was good though.
It was okay. It was okay.
It was alright.
Compared to the others, it was actually had a story. It was good. Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
If you put it that way, anything after the second Mortal Kombat is good.
Dan, that's too bad. You.
No, but
Come on. You got to look at these budgets. I think movies should say, like, by the way, before you watch this, you should know that we only had a $20 million budget. Oh, okay, you're gonna be shit then. Okay, fine. You have to go with
Fucking Goro gets killed by a no-namer. Fuck that. Fuck that movie.
but
Fuck that
Goro?
movie so hard.
That's the problem.
Goro? Wait,
Yeah.
are you talking about the first one?
No, the new one.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
that the nobody kills Goro, the Prince of All Saiyans, and it's just what? He's the champion of the first Mortal Kombat. You lost against a UFC fighter who never made it to the UFC. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
He died to the main character. Of course. What are you talking about?
They didn't need a main character. They have a whole game full of main characters, and they have a main character, Liu Kang, who played a side bitch the entire movie.
I love that movie. I enjoyed that movie from beginning to end for what it was. I'm sorry.
But wait. What, tell me what you like. What do you? So does that mean that we're getting a little bit off topic? But I'm curious. I want to know. Does this mean that when a movie takes the angle of fish out of water, so you take an existing property, okay, and you slap a new character in there, so that he is there to tell the viewers and explain the entire story to them because he's experiencing everything for the first time. You as the viewer gets to experience
that character
it for the
was
first time.
basically supposed to be us.
Right, correct. So is that a form of storytelling that you enjoy? That they shy away from the main character of the existing lore? Like let's say Lord of the Rings, they introduced Frodo's brother, and he's going through everything for the first time.
Fredo.
No, I can't stand the Hobbits. That to me, the Hobbit story, I won't watch it. I don't care about the Hobbits. I could care less about the Hobbits.
No, he's not talking about like the Hobbits. Like imagine they did Lord of the Rings, and then they had the whole story. Frodo, Sam, the Hobbits. They're going up to take the One Ring. Oh, by the way, his cousin is just introduced, and he's now the main guy who's going to be all that.
And you're following the main guy
off in the background.
And you're following
the
cousin.
They put all the camera work on the new main guy, and then like Frodo and Sam is like. Nobody cares about your story going up to Mount Doom and how you guys want to put the ring in there. Let's focus on your brother.
But meanwhile,
what's the point? It's the same thing like the whole Halo series. It's like, hey,
hang on. You asked me a question. Let's give him a chance to answer.
Okay. Sorry. I was getting like.
But we're talking about video games here. We're not talking about like a novel. Mortal Kombat, they're just trying to IP. They're trying to prop IP. And whoever did the last one. They did a good job, I think, and that's it. I'm like, it's not a great movie, but I had a good time watching it. And
but what I will say is that to me, the new Mortal Kombat was the best Mortal Kombat that's out there.
By far, it has to be.
Yeah, it's. I don't know.
I still go by the first. I still go by the first one is the best one.
There's still
the last one is I know the first one is definitely the best one. The newest one is probably the second best, and. They could literally make another Mortal Kombat with a dog pooping, and it'll still be better than the second one.
It's just an hour worth of squatting dogs.
No.
Okay, I have to say though, Dad. Both South Park games actually have a main character who pretty much runs as if he's part of the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking about an instant that it actually does work, and that's one of them.
No, but that's the thing. It just means whenever TV shows or movies do that thing where they have a character who's supposed to be, they call it like a vessel for the viewer. I don't appreciate that. Like, tell me your story through the characters of the established lore. I appreciate it that way. So if honestly, if they do a Mortal Kombat 2, which is a sequel to the new one, I hope they rip fucking Cole out and make Johnny Cage the main character because they teased him at the end. I hope that would be awesome. Anyways,
I disagree with Cole.
Back to The Last of Us. Sorry, I was just curious there.
Go from Cole to
Joel. My curiosity got the best of me. So I wanted to know from you guys now if you guys had any questions or angles and things that you wanted to explore, anything that you guys noticed that you wanted to bring up.
It should have been 2 seasons.
There should be more zombies.
I called it last time.
There's so much action.
No, but it's like I've been saying. Like, I keep saying that there should be more action, but I'm not saying for like the games of yesteryear where it was just mindless. It's like let's just give Kirby guns or give some random people guns and they go guns a blazing. I don't want that. Like I said, I want like some reason behind it. Like they've had plenty of opportunities to have done exactly that, but they're like, no, let's just not do any of that. Let's just focus on story, and that's about it. There's no
I would be
there's no
less annoyed.
substance to it.
I'd be
Go ahead,
less
go ahead.
annoyed with the lack of action if the storytelling was better.
Mm.
The storytelling is better for 2 episodes.
It'd be nice if it was. It'd be better if it was good storytelling across the board. But
But you're not
I
nailed.
don't know.
There's no suspense.
Currently, Currently, I am not. Overly,
There's no suspense.
I'm currently not super impressed.
But Joe, you're still watching the show with people that haven't played the game, right?
Yeah, they didn't enjoy that.
Even at the end, they had no idea who Riley was. They didn't know how our story was going to play out. They weren't worried that this character was going to die.
My wife and my daughter were very disappointed. First thing my wife said was, "That's an hour I'm never getting back."
Well, that's great.
Jesus.
I was like trying to stay awake. I was like,
Yeah.
God.
You know what? You know what's fucked up is that I'm pretty good at remembering the episode. I watch it twice, right? And I try to hone in on the key points. And one of the things that I can't for the life of me remember is at one point when Riley goes to pick up Ellie and they leave her bedroom and they're walking across the rooftops towards the mall. I don't fucking remember that conversation at all. What was said there?
I have no
It
clue.
wasn't a conversation. It was more like they were like pulling a Matrix thing where they were jumping off rooftops. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Follow me.
You're on a board. Hey, you're jumping.
Oh, my God.
You don't die.
Yeah. But
I don't think anything important was said.
But that was a long ass scene though. That was at least
Yes,
that was
it was a long ass episode for no reason.
Maybe they're trying to show that they're going far, and that's how easy it is to get out of the QZ. Just run on the rooftops.
message was not
That
received.
seems like it seems like a pretty lack of trying to keep your place well guarded and make sure there's no zombies and shit that come in there. If there's nobody on the rooftops,
They're always like, "Oh, you have to watch out for all the security. There's so much security. You don't want to get caught." No one happens. Just jumps off roof, or as far as like Ellie and Joel apparently waltz out and beat a guy to death.
All right, so
Great security.
last question for me. I just wanted to know. I had a feeling that this episode was going to be a dog shit review across the board, and it turns out that it might just be the case. So I wanted to know, moving forward, we have 2 episodes left. I want to hear from each of you, or maybe collectively you'll have the same idea. What is it that you would think that would correct the course of the show and make it a win for you? Let's go with Joe first.
I want to see that the boss battle between Ellie and David. I want to see intense. I want to see fire. I want to see her figuring out something, how to kill him, and I want to see it done properly. I don't care if you add in stuff that wasn't there. You're gonna have to, but I want to see a burning building. I want to see her about to die, and like her wounded and getting away from like all the guys. There's got to be some sort of like. It doesn't have to be action because there ain't gonna be action, but it's got to be suspenseful. My wife and my stepdaughter have to be like, oh my God, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I thought she was really gonna.
All right, fair enough. You check out the preview; you'll love it.
Ooh, yeah, I got
and I'm not exaggerating. You'll actually like it.
It's like movies. When a good movie comes out, I don't want to see no previews. I'm tired of watching previews. I don't watch previews.
All right.
I've no.
I also agree with that.
I like the teasers. I watch the teasers. The little, oh, cool, that's coming out. Then I'm done. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to know nothing.
All right, Josh.
Oh shit. Not much. A giraffe?
You've given up. No, for real. You've given up. This is it for you. You're pretty much done with the show.
I wouldn't say I'm done with the show because I'm kind of a completionist sometimes, so I have to finish it.
Oh no, but when I say you're done with the show, I mean like how it doesn't matter.
Yeah. As far as like I don't know, to make it better, like the Dave stuff has to be on point. Okay. Like I agree, you have to have like that suspense. You have to go like, oh, you sick fuck. Like I wanna feel something. I wanna at least have some sort of connection, even if it's with some man's death. I don't know.
I'm calling it right now to add to your point. Is that it's a straight white guy. They will have no problem making him look like a piece of shit. I promise you. Watch.
Oh, 100%.
They won't have a
Yeah,
problem. I'm telling you,
I
they
would,
won't have a problem doing that. I
I would
honestly feel
personally
that
feel
way.
even more offended they didn't do it just because I expected so much. Like, yeah,
Look,
of course.
to add to that, I
He's
think
white.
I
Can
think
you guys give me 2 seconds?
Hang
I'll
on,
be
hang
right
on.
back. I'm really gonna take a leak. I'll be right back in like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Thank
so to elongate my point, no, I just don't. I don't know. I have little faith that anything is gonna really happen. That's gonna make me go like, oh shit. Maybe outside of the Dave stuff, maybe. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
no, the Dave stuff was still kind of shocking at the time. So
And Joe, you
even
wanted
the
to
ending
add.
wasn't really super shocking. So
Joe, you wanted to add to the point of.
yeah, sorry. The point. Okay, so I'm thinking back and we're talking and I'm going back and it's like the thing that they added that I liked was that character, Two and a Half Men. That girl from Two and a Half Men.
Yeah.
What's her name? It eludes me now. When she was there, she's upset. Her brother, they give that twist to give a bit of backstory to those types of people, those raiders, but they had their own, version without Fedra. Okay, fine. If they did that with her, I think they can do a good job with David. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually like my hopes are up for that. So for whatever reason, that's gonna happen. Like that his story and his people now, that group of people who are more eating cannibals, blah 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 blah. Like that should be good because I enjoyed that crazy lady story with her. Like my brother died, and meh, 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 meh. I mean the voice is so annoying, but it's like it worked. I found that worked. So if they did that with her to make that backstory happen, and they got all the bloater and figured out the way she died, and I enjoyed that. The David thing should be really good. Just to add to you guys, I don't think they're gonna flop it. I think that's.
Okay.
I think I don't know how they're gonna do that one episode, and then again that just makes me worry about the rushness of how rushed the last episode's gonna be.
If I remember the way that I reviewed that episode, specifically with the. God, I wish I knew her name, but 2.5 woman chick.
Yeah, that's a good shoot. She
Um,
played a girl. She played a crazy girl after Charlie in Two and a Half Men. So they chose. I found they chose the right girl to play that.
yeah, yes, but I'll slightly disagree with you on that because to me I didn't like her character arc at all, and to me it killed the episode a little bit because again when you were playing the game, the Raiders in that level, you didn't know them, you didn't know who they are, you didn't know what they were capable of, you didn't know what their motivation was, and that terrified you. You didn't know what they were coming for you after. Whereas in this one, it was a little bit strange because it just felt so dang personal, you know. It didn't feel like survival, and
Yeah, it was. But you realize after that it's like, well, okay, but why are they following her? Like, what's so special about her? Then you find out, oh, her brother was this hugely respected, general of the people. He had his thing, and they're like, oh, he would have done things this way. And she's like, I know, and that's why I'm doing it like this. And it's like you realize, like she's, people
yeah,
would have followed. Like my brother did this, and he was right, so we have to follow in his footsteps. Forgive, let forgive, and we keep on going. And whatever morals they were trying to say that how good of a brother he was, and the backstory of how he got killed because he just was too. And the sister's like, no, I'm not doing it that way. I'm doing it this way. And everyone's like, we agree. Or one lackey agrees, and everyone follows him.
yeah.
That's what I got. Everyone agrees with her lackey. Whatever he did, people were following him, and he just happened to like. I was surprised there was no love scene between those two girls.
You see, I agree with Joe. The simp got everybody killed. All right.
Yep.
fucking simp, fucking incels.
All right,
my God.
Danny, I want to hear from you now. What is it that could redeem the last 2 episodes for you? What is it that could make the show into a win?
I say they actually make these episodes like I don't know anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hour long, just to like bring everything. Yeah, I know it's asking for a lot. It's going to be a lot long, like 2 long ass episodes. But if they don't do it for this one, that's fine. They could probably get away with it. I was actually just looking at the trailer. It's looking pretty good. But at least for the last episode, make it like a decently length one, just so they have time to go through the motions of everything from after David and all and how how it ends. If they want to try and do things right and not feel like it's all rushed, I feel like it should be at least like a 2 hour long episode or a long ass episode.
I could get behind that.
Because otherwise, I don't know. I was worried about beforehand, with just knowing from where some of the what episodes were going to be happening, that there was going to be they're going to have trouble sticking the landing. So if they have that, if the episode's a long ass episode, my faith will be a little bit restored, and then I just need to see if it's how it turns out.
Yeah.
You know, it would be really cool if we had a really bomb ass action scene. Like, you know how like you had to take like what was it, like the underground stuff? I don't know if it was on the highway or something.
It was a tunnel on their way to the hospital.
Thank you. So the tunnel, because at some point there's a bloater, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be cool if there was like a really nice tense scene that they have to get by a bunch of clickers and the bloater and blah blah blah, just to like, I don't know, bring in a little oomph.
Actually,
in the show that has way too much fucking talking.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe.
Like,
We didn't pick up anything you said there.
No, I'm just agreeing with Josh. Like to bring in what you're trying to explain is that they should bring in what the game is about: stealth, getting around the bloaters,
and the fact that there's a fucking threat the entire fucking time. Like humans didn't go almost extinct for no reason. There should be at least some zombies. Like, come on, fuck.
Even if it was a stealth scene every episode, like, how do we get away with not being quiet? They made a movie out of it called Silent or Shush or Hush or No Noise or Blind or whatever.
You said everything except the word quiet.
Yeah, it's quiet.
I have to see that movie, actually. It's a good movie, right? Quiet Place.
So, like, that's fine. I thought they were going to go that route where it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and they're like, okay, don't make a move. Clicker. They hear you, and they're running. And, like, that's what gets people on edge. It's that sound. They nailed it. And we only heard it a couple times. It's like, that's what they should be doing. So the last episode should be exactly what Danny said and what Josh said, but with all that noise, and
all of it.
You should just be like, "Oh my god, what's gonna happen?" Even though you know what's gonna happen, but you're like enjoying it because it's like you can feel.
And the giraffe comes in, bursts downstairs, hits everybody with his long neck head, whatever.
They're all running, and the giraffe comes in, and everyone's like, "Oh."
Joel rides the giraffe on the head and everything, and Ellie's like shooting giant machine guns.
Oh man, but yeah,
I heard you see how giraffes fight. They like literally whip their neck at things.
They whip their neck and they stomp.
Yeah.
They're like, they keep axe kicking things.
Oh man,
insane.
But for me, in order for this to be considered 100%, like the 100%, well, to put it in the win category and something that I would recommend somebody watches, like you guys said, they need to nail the David scene.
Yep.
I need to see somewhat better character development between Joel and Ellie's relationship, and not just like a caveat at the end all the time. I would like to see them develop a little more. A little bit more banter between them would be nice. And I need to see Joel's ferocity. I need to see this man turn into like an absolute demon in order to protect Ellie. Like, for real.
He has to turn from Hispanic Joel to white man Joel.
Yeah. Well, I think it's coming because now it's like he, without saying the L word, he cares for her so much that he knows that I can't do this, and I made a promise, and I'm shipping you off to my brother because that's just the smarter thing to do for what's best for her and what's best for his promise. He's hiding behind, I promised Tess, but I think he, and they're like laughing and he's getting attached, and I think that's also another reason why he wanted to shove her off, because he's getting too attached. Now he's sick. He's telling her go go go. She's gonna stay. He's gonna get better. If he wakes up and she's missing, that's when he clicks, and hopefully that's what we see.
Yep.
Right.
And I know I'm stuck on this, and I really have to let it go. But I want to see that interrogation scene. I want to see Joel destroy two people.
I'm afraid we lost it because
we did.
He
already said the lines.
Yeah.
Like, my prediction for the next episode is going to be 1 or 2 scenes with Joel, and it's going to be him showing up after Ellie takes care of Dave. That's it. We're not going to see Joel wake up alone, worried, wondering where she is, interrogating people, trying to figure out where she is. We're just going to get all of Ellie's perspective, and he's going to show up at the end to comfort her.
You think her acting chops are going to kick in and she'll finally give you the satisfaction?
I would hope so. No, listen, Bella Ramsey can act. She can. I just don't understand what's going on in the show that I'm not... And you know what? Maybe it's just I'm too stuck on the game. I'm too stuck on the Ellie I saw in the game.
She's 14. She's 14. She's acting like a 14-year-old. She's not. She can't overact that.
Bella Ramsey's like 20.
She's 20, but she's acting like a 14-year-old.
Yeah. Okay.
But something just came to mind, and it's like, and I just lost half of it. But I think for our buddy Pedro, The Mandalorian is coming out with his second season, third season, whatever it is.
Third season.
It's already out, actually.
Well, there you
Is
go.
it?
Well,
Apparently.
I have this funny
shit.
feeling that Disney has a lot to do with his tameness because I remember back in the 90s there was a big kerfuffle about the what was that actress? What was her name? From the
Oh, Gina Carano?
No, it was like this Christian TV series, not Christian, but it was very lighthearted, whatever. And this girl, she ended up the girl who played in Bad Santa. Oh, it kills me.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
she was in Gilmore Girls. She was in Gilmore Girls, and because of her contract, they were worried that like if she portrayed somebody that was more rough and tough and very more sexualized and blah blah, it would look bad on the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if Disney's got a hold on Pedro, saying you can do this, but at the same time, like we cannot have this guy being too violent when you're part of the.
It's speculation.
I'm speculating right now, but there could be that stipulated in his clause, like, hey, you want to do that movie, no problem, but remember, you still have a contract with us, and I can't have your character, even though it's your face, being kids watching you, and then watching Disney and associating being completely violent with what we're trying to do with. And I know Mandalorian, he's supposed to be a bounty hunter and blah 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 blah, but we know how Disney dumbs down.
I don't really know about that, considering the new movie that he's in with Nicolas Cage. He literally drops acid.
Yeah.
you see him all like
Yeah.
Maybe that was before the contract. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because before the Mandalorian, he was doing Narcos, which was a pretty rough portrayal, right?
Oh, that's true.
But that was before Mandalorian. So that was before he was with Disney.
I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to come up with excuses of why he's so meow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it probably helps too. That's probably part of the reason why they have him in the mask and why he's been trying to fight in a lot of the throughout the entire Mandalorian series to have more scenes where you can actually see his face. Because otherwise, he's always been in the helmet the entire time, so you don't really like unless you know that it's Pedro Pascal that's in there.
Which is how
you'd have no clue.
I hate that he complained about that. Seriously.
Just trying to come up with like a reason as to I don't know.
So real quick, I wanted to look at the names of the last two episodes of the show. And it's the last thing I'll say. We can end the review here. It's that by looking at the names of the last two episodes. So the next episode is called "When We Are in Need," which is very obviously attached to what we saw in the previews. It's going to be when Ellie's in great need and the things she'll have to go through. And the next episode is called "Look for the Light," which is the quote of the Fireflies, right?
Yeah.
So so we know what that's going to be about.
Like what?
That's kind of a funny take because I have the episode list in front of me, and the first episode is "When You're Lost in the Darkness," and if the last episode is "Look for the Light."
Oh yeah, there
that's
you
the
go.
whole. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
Ooh, they did a thing. It's yeah. So honestly, I think they're going to wrap up the game by the end of episode 9, the entire first game, including the DLC.
Good.
And if that's the case, if they do wrap it up that quickly and it's 1 hour episodes, that's right now for me this is falling in a do not recommend category.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't think it's grabbing anybody's attention more than
it's boring. It's
more than the video game viewers. On HBO is being
Yeah. If I go off what the ratings are like right now, IMDb is saying that the last episode was a 7.5, but Metacritic is giving this last episode a 5.3
out of 10.
Out of 10.
All right.
Accurate.
Most of the episode, so far Metacritic hasn't given anything above a 9. Like the first episode is an 8.6. IMDb is giving it a 9.5, I think. What was it? 9.5 of the first. Oh no, not even the first episode. The best episode was Endure and Survive, the one with the two kids, Sam and
No, look at
Jack
that.
Hammer's brother.
Look at
Anyways,
that. Look at that.
yeah,
Who hated that episode?
I don't know what you're talking about. I love that episode. It was a good episode. What
You
are you
only
talking
made
about?
too many characters are black.
Oh.
It's not fair. Those white people.
We want equality of all the races.
No,
You
Mr.
want,
Kid.
you want ratings? Huh? You want ratings? You have a white guy complaining about too much black people on TV. I'm tired of it.
Thank you guys for participating in the review. I can't wait to see the next episode. Honestly, I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to be a lot better. I think you're finally going to get the action you've been asking for.
Some?
Some.
It's looking like it. It's looking like it.
It's like you have a thing that pushed humanity on its verge of extinction, and the best you could come up with are 2 episodes on gay couples. And them going to some fucking Alexandria-like place. That's a Walking Dead reference, by the way. And then, like, whatever. Just whatever.
Yeah, Josh is clearly finished with this. He's lost all hope for it.
Just whatever. It's because, like, okay, there was a comment that was made, like, a few episodes ago where it was, what's it? Like, fans of a game or a comic or whatever. Like, okay, let's say, like, in this case, Last of Us, right? People who played the game is going to like the game better. Or, like, for Walking Dead, people who read the comics might, like, you know, that bias that they have the source material and then
the book is better, or the game is better.
Yeah. So what stuck with me is, like, I was saying something about, like, the action, or like whatever, and then you brought up the fact that some people can't disassociate the game from the movie or the game from the show or whatever. And, like, I'm one of the type of people who can. Like, I've played the game and I know it's a show. I'm not dumb enough to think that they're going to be exact replications, considering Walking Dead is not like the comic, considering Mortal Kombat's not like Mortal Kombat, considering, you know what I mean? So I walked in knowing, fucking Goro. Anyways, I walked in, knowing, like, there's going to be a difference. It's a show. I know that there's not going to be a whole mess of whatever. It's a show. But, like, come the fuck on, dude. Like, you have only 2 episodes that kind of show what drove humanity to almost extinction, and that's not important to you? I don't know, because in the game, it actually has an emphasis. There's an actual problem. There's like a sense of threat. There's a sense of urgency, and I don't feel that in the show at all.
Well, that's it. The whole opening scene is you see the spores and we're going around. And
like they're like, okay, yeah, Ellie has to come here. You gotta protect her. There's gonna be a whole thing. Da, 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 da. In the game, they deliver because you have action because it's a game. You have the in-depth storyline. You have the interactions. You have this. And then in the show, it's like they don't even try to attempt it. When they do, it's a 2-second half-ass attempt, just so they could tell a different story because they want to tell. Like, I don't know. I don't see the click. I don't see the urgency. I don't feel the need to go like, man, I really need to see next episode because they're going to hook me in with this. I feel like I'm just watching it to see how the game differs from a show. And I find that's a really bad reason to watch a show, but here we are.
Yeah. But more importantly, the like I said, the writer and co-producer of the game is the one that's spearheading this project on the TV show. And to me, it's really demonstrating how just because you worked in the gaming industry, and yeah, sure, you may have directed how you wanted the cutscene to be filmed and so on and so forth, doesn't mean you can translate over into, the big screen, or television. It's clearly not working,
100%.
It's not translating well. Maybe it will be done better someday, but right now it's not hitting that nail yet.
I don't know. In my opinion, if you're going to have less action, I'm just hoping that the dialogue, or at least the story, is well written, or it's well produced, or whatever. Like, I want to feel some sort of connection. I've seen movies and shows that don't have action in it, and I'm still invested. But this, I don't feel the investment. It's like I made a bad. Yeah, it's like I made a bad investment, and right now I'm just watching my money go away.
Funny nitpick, I just thought about it. I remembered it. So the zombie that attacked Ellie and Riley in the episode, where'd the tendrils go? That just
Yeah, no
vanished.
kidding.
Like I feel
And
like
all of a sudden,
I feel like I
and all
haven't
of a sudden-
seen
Back in its mouth. It didn't succeed.
what?
They didn't find their makeout worthy, so they didn't try.
Yeah, you see the scene where his mouth is open, the tendrils are coming out of his mouth, but she manages to escape. They go back in.
Oh no, it's probably because they didn't give consent, so the zombie was trying to appreciate.
Oh, there were tendrils on the zombie in that scene.
for like two, like a
Something coming out of his mouth when he was like, ah, and then like the thing starts coming out of his mouth.
Oh, I didn't notice
then-
it. Okay.
It was like for a split second. I'm like, oh, okay, is that how she gets? And then.
But
more
more,
action.
but more importantly, when I just thought about that, where were the tendrils and in that attack and everything, more importantly, is the hive mind thing ever going to come into play?
Probably not.
May-
Okay.
Ooh, maybe later, actually. You know what? If it came into play during that underground scene that I was talking about before, that'd be pretty cool.
That would make
I don't
sense.
yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
I don't know if you guys read on the because I read the article on. I was looking up something and I stumbled upon the article and it said, "Why is there no spores in the game?" And they basically said that they had to write out the spores and make it a connection thing, a hive mind thing to explain it. I don't think we're going to see it ever again. I think it's just maybe at the end they might do it again, but I don't think it's a big deal. They can't do the spores because they cannot have their actors. And I thought this was such a lame excuse because you could have it for like a 30-second scene. They said they could not have their actors acting in masks. And I'm like, we weren't in masks that often in the game. Only a couple times, a couple cutscenes. Put on your masks, play.
Are they aware that one of the actors literally is in a show where he has his mask on like 90% of the time?
They
Yeah.
said they didn't want or they couldn't have actors playing masks all the time, so they wrote out the spores. I found that very weak. I'm like, you could have still had spores, and
That is extremely weak.
you know,
I feel like
if
this
they had a
like
machine
all
that
of
could detect, if they had the machine like a fever thing that you stick in the kid's ear and it tells you the fever, and they had a machine that they stick it to you and it turns green or red. I'm like, I always was amazed with that technology. I'm like, well, it's the future. You could just like zap them and the machine's like, yes or no, you're infected or you're not. Like they trust this machine.
COVID or no COVID?
They could have easily done the thing where like you put
Zap.
the machine in the air. And say, spores are non-infectious. Okay, I can walk through this spore because it hasn't mutated yet, and you can like test the air. They could have got around it that way. I'm like, you got rid of the spores versus the hive mind. The hive mind thing is cool. Don't get me wrong, but like you
The
said,
hive mind would be cooler if it actually was a constant thing.
exactly.
Like,
If you
okay,
punch one in the head, they all wake up. It's like
I'm sorry, but that
Good.
zombie who was in the mall sitting on the floor was clearly growing some shit on him
Yeah.
that was digging into the floor. So him waking up because he heard some noise would have woken up the hive mind, no?
Yes.
yeah.
But anyways, nitpicking. I'm
that was
nitpicking.
back then. Maybe there was
100%.
I'm nitpicking. But if that's the reason, I didn't see that article. If that's the reason, that's fucking lazy as hell. Because
Yep.
we're complaining about the lack of action. But imagine if they would have added the element of the spores into the show. Fucking breathing is terrifying. Yes,
Dude, just-
yes, tension,
yes.
tension. I want it.
100%. Yo, action doesn't necessarily mean bodies. Action could just be suspense.
Exactly.
Like I don't know about you guys, but like when I was playing the game and then the spores showed up, like there was areas with spores and shit. I was like, ugh,
Not to
shit.
mention, one of the characters doesn't need to wear a mask when into the spores because they're fucking immune.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was the week.
I feel like it's literally Pedro. I feel like it's him because of Mando. He's like, nah. I don't care about the game and the info. No mask.
No,
No mask or I'm out.
I personally want a hive mind. If they don't have a hive mind in this, I'm not in.
that's where Joe's theory comes in.
That's Disney saying, no, we have the right to put a mask on Pedro. You don't
Exactly.
put a mask on Pedro. You're done. You're done.
You have to have a hive mind.
Mask
Completely
character with
ruin
Pedro's
everything.
voice?
Rip
No.
off a bunch of other things.
Mask character with Pedro's voice. Disney TM. That's it. Belongs to
He
us.
sounds too much like Mando. That's it.
Oh,
So that's
boys.
why Joel doesn't really talk as much as he does.
Well, thank you so
Oh.
much for joining for the chat today, boys. Much
problem.
appreciated. We'll see you guys next time for the next Last of Us episode 8 review.
In the next, yeah. We'll wear a mask next time.
Oh, viewers, we have decided that Danny's going to lead us out from now on with our new catchphrase. Take it away, Danny.
All right, go. Bubba dubba dub da.
Oh, wait a minute. He's wearing the Spider-Man head? That's why you were talking about Spider-Man in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got that.
I guess that was a swing and a miss.
Oh.
Oh, because Spider-Man swings. I get it. I get it. Wow, this wine is so good.
Damn. Oh yeah.
Yo, pass me some.
There you go.
Imagine that would have been so cool.
The future is here.
A giraffe shows up.
Oh man. Hey Joe, you think you'll be able to join us? Okay, wait, Joe. You said that Sundays are more difficult for you to join for gaming. Would it be easier on Saturdays?
What's happening this Sunday? No, my Gabriella's gonna be downstairs from you, Daniel.
What, this Sunday?
Yeah, it's Gabriella's birthday.
That shit.
Yeah, and
I'm actually not going to be around.
Saturday at your mom's.
Yeah, Saturday going to be with my mom's.
Yeah, we're coming. We're coming.
No worries.
Got me out a week. I'm gonna hike up a mountain again. I'm like, no, thank you.